Do you think the Miami Heat need another star to really win the entire thing?
No, it will help, but no.
It would help. Well, after what the hell I saw in game was at 5, damn right it would help. But yeah, it would be nice. It'd be convenient. But I think you know we saw what game. What where is it that their starters had like what 18 points or some shit like that.
Yeah,
So we always talk about having a balanced attack. Whether you rely on your defense, but at the same time, if you can't put the ball in the hoop, you might have some problems. But I ask that because anytime there's a team has a rough game, I think we may forget the pros, the advantages that a team has to offer. At the end of the day, this is still a number one overall seed in the conference, right? At the end of the day, there's still a team that's 2 wins away from reaching the finals. So it's just something to think about, and if this team is worthy of an excuse, if that makes sense, right?
no,
Or
no. Nobody's worthy of an excuse when you make it to the Final Four. Like unless your best player gets hurt or something like a crazy injury, nobody is like worthy of an excuse. Especially if like, well, I mean, Jimmy Butler has been like, I think his knee is cooked like for the series. I think also like Kyle Lowry is hurt, but also look at the other side of the other team, like Jason Tatum, his shoulder, he seems hurt. So Marcus Smart has dealt with a lot of injuries. So but at this time of the year, everybody's fighting and dealing with something. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to say like, oh, Miami Heat may need another star, but it's just like the problem with Miami Heat is just like when you rely solely on your defense first, that can get very taxing on the offensive side of the court. Like Miami has one of the best defense in the NBA, but the problem is like so does the Boston Celtics. But then they got guys that are pure scorers. They got 2, 3 level scores on their team. So that's kind of like what's going on with the Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics. You got two teams that are great defensively, and it's going to come down like who can make more shots. And so far, right now, you got a team with two of the best shot makers in the league. So compared to Miami Heat, where Tyler Hero's out, and then Jimmy Butler's having a knee injury, and Jimmy Butler's not necessarily like a quote unquote like shot maker of the caliber of a Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown. When we talk about just pure scoring ability, so that I think a better question is just like would the Miami Heat be would the Miami Heat be better off with Jimmy Butler playing like the second option role and requiring a star to be like the number one go to guy whose game is more predicated on scoring. I think
so
that's
yeah, I
probably
mean
it.
that's the
That's probably
same
a
thing. Do they need another star?
Well, I mean, it's not necessary because Jimmy can be the star, but sometimes you just need a better shot creator. Like I think Tyler Hero's the best shot creator on their team, but he hasn't played. But also like in the playoffs, especially this round in particular, it's just kind of like, well, it's I know Tyler Hero feels like he should be on the level of Trey Young and Luka Doncic, but it's not. That's not the case. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why I say that is because like we look at the Milwaukee Bucks, like Giannis is clearly the best player on their team, but their best shot maker and closer is Chris Middleton because his game is predicated on scoring. He's a bucket getter, pure bucket getter. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what the Miami Heat kind of need, where in the playoffs, you still got a guy that can play the second option when we talk about just scoring, but still be like your do everything type of player, similar to Giannis. But like when it's go time, half court setting, you need 80 to 80, low scoring defensive game, 2 minutes left, a minute left, 30 seconds left. You can get the ball to a pure shot creator, pure scorer. That's probably what the Miami Heat are probably missing, more so than like a legitimate like Nuller star.
Yeah, I mean that game 5 was nasty, especially that first quarter.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it was a combination of good defense and bad offense, but it was bad. Both sides too. I know we're talking about the Miami Heat right now, but it was bad on both sides. I'm like, God, goodness gracious, can anybody hit a shot? But I mean, I think it's one thing to miss, right? It's one thing to play poorly, but at the same time, when you watch certain teams, it's like, all right, who are they going to, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the team is struggling or whatever, but now it's like, all right, you don't have that player that can say, all right, there's 7 seconds left on the shot clock. The first 17 seconds didn't work out, but just do your best to try and get a bucket. That like that
Yeah.
that I
Miami don't
feel
have
like is
that.
lacking. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. Miami
And
don't have that.
so it's like at some point you know that in the playoffs you're going to need that. All that stuff you
Yeah.
do in the regular season is good. Team basketball, team defense, culture, X and O's, great coach, cool, all sweet and dandy. who could put the damn ball in the hoop.
And Jimmy Butler can do that, and he
Right,
showed
right.
the capability of doing
at
that.
a different clip.
But it's just also just kind of like Jimmy Butler's not a natural perimeter scorer. You know what I'm saying? He's not a natural like score first type of guy. Like I know he got the nickname Jimmy Buckets, but Jimmy Buckets is more so like, a guy that can just like he does everything. He may get you points shooting, may get you points, tip backs, offensive rebounds, laying it up, stuff like that. But like talk about pure scoring ability. When it's the playoffs, you need guys like a Kyrie Irving. You need guys like a Chris Middleton or a Kevin Durant or even like a Paul George, like that, guys of that ilk of that can just pure score. Like this is what they do. Like, give me the ball and get out the way. And unfortunately, the Miami Heat don't really have that. I thought they kind of had that with Tyler Hero. Because I said Tyler Hero's the best shot creator on the number one team in the Eastern Conference, which is true. But the problem is come playoff time, you may not want Tyler Hero being your best shot creator come the playoffs. So it's a tough situation.
I think that's because of youth. I mean, ironically enough, you got a team that's so good, but lacks a real like true isolation player. But I mean, I don't know. I still don't think that series is over. I mean, they're down 3-2, and obviously what they lost back to back, home games and playoffs and all that. But I mean, at the same time, the team that they're facing, they also just came back from being down 3-2.
Yeah, it can go 7.
Yeah.
It can go 7, and I picked the Miami Heat to win in 7. I picked Miami to go to the finals, actually to win it all. So I'm still stick with that pick. But for a pure basketball standpoint and fandom, like you probably want Boston Celtics versus the Golden State Warriors. Honestly, because
why would I want that?
Because nobody wants to see the Miami Heat struggle to put up 80 points per game. Like that's nasty. Like that's a nasty like that. This series has been very, very nasty because, like you said, like Golden State, ain't nobody stopping Golden State Warriors. Like we're talking about scoring and stuff like that. When the Miami Heat struggle to score, like it's not just like this is like possessions, like minutes, like 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes at a time. Like they struggle to score at times. So especially if Jimmy Butler like facing like a injury where he's not the same that he's been in the first early stages of the games and series. So like I want Jaylen Brown. I want to watch Jason Tatum. I'd rather watch those guys go up against a Golden State Warriors team to watch a Miami Heat team that's going to struggle to even score the ball.
So you want the Celtics to thrive?
No, I'm just saying. I would prefer to watch. I would prefer to watch that. I want to win it all, and what I prefer to watch is two totally different things.
But I'm saying in this situation, you want them to thrive. You're saying that you want the Celtics to win and ultimately go to the finals.
I'm saying for watching the game would be better. I'm not saying who I don't. I'm not saying I want the Miami Heat to win it all, but watching wise, and for just fans, it's probably better that we see the Golden State Warriors versus the Boston Celtics, just for pure entertainment, more entertainment.
I mean, I think Miami deserves another shot at the title. This time, obviously outside the bubble. I think that city deserves also, when we talk about the post-LeBron era. That's another thing, too. That's another city that doesn't really get talked about too much when we talk about the post-LeBron era. A lot of people talk about, just Cleveland as if he only played for one team. But, like, to see where they're, how far they've came and all that, I think it would be good for them. But even still, even from just an eye test, I think I would rather watch Miami versus Golden State. You got the team that's done it already. You got the glamour, right? You got the team that no one really dislikes versus the team that is filled with people who've had to, I feel like, prove themselves their entire career. I mean, I get it. The Celtics, it might talent wise all that, but I'd like to see Miami in there. I mean, it's still a good team.
Yeah, it's a good team, but it's just like nobody wants to see. It may be nobody wants to see.
Trust me.
Struggle 50 to 60 points per game.
First of all, that was one game. Well, there's way worse teams. There's way worse teams that, trust me, there are way worse teams in the National Basketball Association that I would not want to see in the NBA Finals.
All I'm saying is nobody wants to see teams struggle. Like it's nasty. Like it's not just this last game. It's been the entire series. They struggle to score at this. Like the best perimeter player is Jimmy Butler. He's hobbling on one knee right now. So it's just like he's not even 100%. So it's just like Kyle Lowry is their starting point guard. He hasn't scored a point in 2 games. Like what? Like
That's not funny. That's not funny.
No, you making it seem like I'm just saying things like you making it seem like these are concerns.
That's not
like
funny. That's not funny.
Like I know they play hard defensively, but I'm just saying like
that's actually pretty nasty.
I'm a guy that grew up watching the Miami Heat. Like Dwayne Wade's my favorite player of all time. So it's just like of course I want the Miami to go and beat the Golden State Warriors. I would prefer that because that's the team I grew up rooting for. But from a pure basketball standpoint, I'm a guy that's like, I'm a basketball fan first, not just a fan of a team and stuff like that. I like basketball, like all basketball. From a basketball standpoint, it's probably better to go to say Warriors play the Boston Celtics.
Well, you know what? I'm also a basketball, fan, and that's exactly why I'm rooting
you're a Lakers
for Miami.
Guy,
that's really what, exactly.
So
that's why I'm not rooting.
I know. Wait, you gonna cover? You gonna lie instead of saying I'm a basketball fan? Then like you're not bleeding purple and gold.
In what world am I finna root for the damn Celtics? Shout out to JT. I mean, you said it best. Yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time for that boys in Hollywood, man. So
I hope so. I need that to flourish. So that's why I go Miami.
Listen, if you want the agenda to run and be active, you might want to think twice about how you're rooting or who you're rooting for in this series.
True. That's true because if the Boston Celtics go out and win a championship, that's a wrap. Like that's dream over probably.
You think Brown would have left Cleveland if he won a title? You ever think about that?
It's Cleveland.
So?
Yes. Players get just like people shouldn't be surprised if when Giannis' contract is up, if Giannis goes and leave. Like he did.
It's not the same thing though. It's not the same thing though.
I don't know how's not the same.
Well,
thing.
I meant the first time leaving Cleveland, by the way, for Braun.
I mean, they couldn't put a competent team around him. He was carrying guys on his back to 16 games in the regular season.
To be very clear, he should have left. He made the right decision. He probably should have left a little earlier, but he made the right decision. I'm saying if he won, if he beat the Spurs, right?
Yeah, I think he still leaves.
That probably been the craziest accomplishment considering what the hell was on that damn roster. But
yeah,
if he did win one,
yeah, I think he still leaves. It's Cleveland. Like some players, when you get older, family starts coming. Raise my family in the cold. Like, I want to be in Miami or LA.
Yeah.
Like you think about a lot of different things. Like,
yeah, we gotta get Joakim Noah on the show so he can say that line again. I mean, it's Cleveland. Some shit like damn, it's kind of heavy. But at least they have a bright future.
And they got their ass whooped too.
And it's funny. And you, yeah, crazy, right? But it's funny. You talk so much about Cleveland, but yet you're the same one that says something along the lines of, I would love to play for the OKC Thunder. Why?
Yeah, if I'm a young player coming in,
I don't give a shit. I don't. No.
Get my stats and stuff. You can live in LA in the off season. You live in New York in off season. In Miami in off season. 8-9
months of the year. You never been to OKC. That there's confirmation that you've never been to Oklahoma City, and that's okay, right? Shout out to the Thunder. I think that they're building something amazing. But I mean, I think when we talk about leaving cities, it's so funny. Players will never admit this, right? Obviously, money is important when you talk about contracts. Obviously, team situation matters. But you know what matters also? The damn location of the team. Like, not everybody trying to go to. Salt Lake City ain't at the top of my damn list in terms of my vacation spots. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay? I mean, that's true.
I mean, free agency and trades and all that. This team got such and such. Let me tell you something. If your team ain't really in,
that's true though. That's a prime market. That's true, but also it also depends on because like basketball is kind of different because like I've seen teams where like you got the Hawks, you got the Dallas Mavericks struggle to get free agents. And these are two These are two prime locations that you want to live in Minnesota, you want to live in Dallas, you want to live in OKC, you want to live in Atlanta, and they struggle like small market teams struggle, and it's crazy to think that the Atlanta Hawks and the Dallas Mavericks are considered small market teams compared to like because they're in big cities, but that's just the truth. So it's just like you'd be like, damn, that's kind of crazy, that's kind of wild because it all depends kind of like on the owner's going to spend money. This and that, and most guys in the league is all about their bag. So even if they don't like the city, it's gonna be hard for them, especially if it's a max contract. It's gonna be hard for guys to turn it down at $30 million, $40 million to go and to go sign where they really want to go. But that's why we see like players like Anthony Davis. get your max, get in, get out, like force your way out and stuff like that. But it's interesting that you brought up the whole situation of like, does the Miami Heat need another star? And it's because Joel Embiid tweeted that, which is crazy. Basically,
It's so funny when like
basically telling Pat Riley to come get him in on social media, which is kind of crazy.
Can you imagine if Joel Embiid starts yelling "Free me"? Oh man, the damn irony.
Now he's just close with Jimmy Butler. I don't think he's doing.
Well, of course
really.
not. I'm just I mean, a guy can drink.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Know. It'd be interesting. Why would Miami? Do you give up that? No.
Well, what's the trade package? Because first of all, the answer is yes.
Bam,
and most likely.
And Bam and Tyler Hero, and a couple first round picks for Joel.
But hey, listen, you know how Miami feels about Tyler Hero. So we saw what they were.
They probably won't want Tyler because they got Tyrese Maxey. So you probably thinking about Bam, 2 first round picks, and a couple other players probably. Maybe Duncan Robinson. I don't know how that trade package. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not too sold. I like Joel Embiid a lot, but like, I'm good. Unless he coming to free agent for free, I'm good.
You're good on him going to Miami.
Yeah, I'm good on him coming to Miami.
Why is that?
Because Joel Embiid has injury history, and it's just like I don't know how long Joel Embiid's prime is going to be compared to a 23-year-old Bam who can guard 1 through 5 defensively and guard the perimeter and still has loads of upside. So now if you're trying to win a championship, like 2-3 years, yeah, of course you pull that, you make that move easily. But like long term, I don't know, So.
Well, I mean, fortunately for them, they're in a win now mode. Like we both said, they're 2 wins away from going to the finals. They went to the finals a couple of years ago. They're not that far away. And I think if you can get an MVP candidate like Joel Embiid, that obviously makes your chances that much better. So look, the way I see it, if a 1 seed in a conference is getting Joel Embiid, something tells me that, they either may win a few more games or their chances of winning the whole thing instantly increase.
People thought that with the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant, and they have yet to make it out the second round with Kevin Durant on their team. So
it's not true.
They've yet to make it out the second round with Kevin Durant.
Oh, out of the second round. Oh, I thought you said to the second round. My apologies.
No, out of the second round.
Hey, hey.
So that's what I'm saying. Just because you are number 1 seed, you get Joel Embiid. If you got to give up certain key pieces, and I don't know what the trade package. That's interesting because I don't know what the trade package should be. But then you sign Kyrie Irving to a $390 million deal, and that's another thing. Like idiots are coming out talking about like this whole Kyrie Irving situation about like 1-year deals, give him the max like $40 million for 1 year. Kyrie Irving, first off, I will leave the Brooklyn Nets before that happens. When you sit up and you see guys like Kyle Lowry getting 3 years, $90 million, and ain't scored a point in 2 games, and he's in the back end of his career, and you want to treat Kyrie Irving like he's in the back end of his career, like Kyrie Irving's in the G League fighting for a spot on the roster. Like let's be real. Like that's not about to happen. Let's keep it 100. It's like that's not about to happen. Like they think Kyrie Irving's going to sign a 1-year deal just to stay with the Brooklyn Nets, and you got players out here historically that have signed max contracts out of their prime or in the midst of their prime, but like kind of on the tail end of their prime. Let's be real. Like if they come to me, if I'm Kyrie Irving, they come to me. I know Kyrie Irving wants to stay with the Brooklyn Nets and stuff like that. He has affinity toward the Brooklyn Nets because his family he's from Jersey, so it's close to be. Family and stuff, that matters. Like, it's better to be out here with your family and stuff like that, where you want to be at and play. And you grew up in this, New Jersey, even though it's the Brooklyn Nets. But are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's insulting. That's insulting. I blame the media for making a big deal about like his personal decision with the vaccination and all that. And I feel like the Brooklyn Nets are trying to throw things out there in the media because they're frustrated because they've kind of blamed Kyrie because they feel like, if you're playing the whole time, maybe James Harden doesn't leave. You're playing the whole time. Maybe we have more rhythm in the playoffs and stuff like that. But talking about like injury history, its concerns and stuff like that, where your best player on your team the past 2 years hasn't played a lot of games himself, and you still max him out. So it's just like, come on, let's be real here. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, I think It's so funny how teams tend to act cheap and more importantly tend to
No.
forget the type of players that they have. I know,
Yeah, he's in his
obviously,
prime.
yeah, and I know obviously like off the court people have mixed opinions about Kyrie, but at the end of the day he can still hoop, right? He can still hoop better than a lot of players in the league and in the world. And so I think when you consider again, we talk about it with the Dallas Mavs and Jalen Brunson and DeAndre Ayton with the Suns, like what's the alternative? You don't want to pay Kyrie Irving? Okay, cool.
What do you do? Who are you getting?
Yeah. Is there someone else out there that I don't know about?
What are you getting? Steph Curry? Are you getting Ja Morant?
Yeah.
Are
Now,
you, like,
now
who,
if that happens, okay, hey,
yeah, that's
I
what I'm
get
saying.
it.
Who are you getting? Kyrie Irving's a top 3 point guard in the world. Top 3 to 5, probably. Sometimes it looks like the best point guard in the world, depending on the day, the night. So it's just like who are
But
you
you know what though?
who are you getting?
To their point, I think literally that question may be the reason why they're a little hesitant. Now that I think about it, I don't agree with it, but the fact that we can sit here and say that there's days where Kyrie looks like a top 3 point guard in the league, but at the same time, there's days where he may not show up to practice or games. Like I said, I don't agree with that.
No, I
I'm all for
more
paying. I am all for paying Kyrie.
I'm more so talking about like big moments. Like Kyrie can go out and drop 50. You be like, yo, Kyrie is really like crazy. That's what I'm not talking about like big. I'm talking about big moments. Before it's like the whole non-playing and stuff like that, that's blown out in proportion because when Kyrie's on the court, he's phenomenal. And the whole like injury, every player's deal with injuries. Like injuries happen. You can get hurt walking down the street. So it's just kind of like that whole injury stuff where it's been guys historically. You just brought up one, Jakeem Noah. He signed a 4-year, $90 million deal with the New York Knicks. He was way out of his prime. I don't think he played a full season. Amari Stoudemire, 5-year, $100 million deal with the New York Knicks. Had one great season. Rest of the 4 years was cooked. Chandler Parsons, 4-year, $90 million, $90 million deal with Memphis Grizzlies. And he didn't even have anything. He had one breakout season. They gave him a 4-year, $90 million deal with the Memphis Grizzlies. Look at Chandler Parsons. So this is what I'm talking about. So if you're Kyrie Irving, they come talking this shit about 1-year deals. You look at them and you say, you throw up that deuce signs, I'm out. Because it's going to be somebody that's going to pay Kyrie Irving.
1 year
Let's
deal.
be real. They talking about 1 year, 2 year.
No, I'm saying
deal.
that's how I react.
1 year. 1 year deal, I'm out.
Cool. Y'all have a good one. No, I appreciate
Y'all have a good
offer.
one.
Y'all let me know if y'all need anything.
I'm out.
I'm a slide.
I'm out. That whole
it.
people are lying when they sit up and say like, "Oh, it's not gonna be a market for Kyrie." Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You mean to tell me that if the Orlando Magic found out that Kyrie Irving was available, they go to like, you know what, we good.
Like, yes, it is. Like that's and then if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you just basically just show you're an incompetent team because now I had to start questioning like, I had to start thinking about, are you a poverty franchise? I had to start asking, are you the New York Knicks? Because
I have a question.
Because if you letting Kyrie Irving walk for free and not getting nothing in return, what does that say about your franchise and your championship window with Kevin Durant? Because let me tell you something, Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons ain't getting it done. Them two alone not getting it done. And you haven't, yeah, exactly. You ain't even thought about Ben Simmons.
I forgot about Ben Simmons. Shout out to Ben Simmons, man. I hope he's having a great day. I think that team, the way they're kind of constructed and built, it's almost like, you want to sit here and say that it takes time because of, chemistry and all that. And, individually, each guy is proven, right? We can sit here and say whatever we want about Ben, Kyrie, KD, whatever. They all, they all play well at a high level when they're healthy and stuff. But the thing is, you've also learned this year that like what's a paper roster is irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? So like if they aren't even playing together, let alone winning, right? We haven't even, reached that discussion yet. If they're not even playing together, it might get a little nasty. But so I got a cap or no cap for you. And you mentioned this team and we just, got done talking about them. But I also, in relation to another team that's pretty close to them, cap or no cap, in the next 2 years, the Brooklyn Nets will be more of a poverty franchise than the New York Knicks. In your eyes. I know you like to use that word, but.
In my eyes, no.
Man said, don't get carried away.
No. I said that for, emotional reasons of why, because I'm frustrated with this nonsense with Kyrie Irving. But no, Kevin Durant signed a 5-year deal. Yes,
don't get it twisted. You can still be a poverty franchise with a very talented
but
ball player on your roster.
you're not going to be a poverty franchise. They ain't missing the playoffs without Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant's on the court.
I'm not, bro. I'm not making any.
Well, I'm just saying. I don't think
I agree, but
no, I'm just saying it's they're not going to be in the Knicks were in the lottery, and had a great season before, that anomaly season, and before that they were in the lottery. You know where before they were? Before that, they were in the lottery. Before that, where they were? They were in the lottery. Like, it's levels, Theus. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Brooklyn Nets.
Is being a poverty franchise just about winning games, though? Or just about losing games?
It's about decisions. It's about, like, because you look at certain things, like I said, like, certain poverty franchises make poor decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like, constantly make poor decisions. And at the Brooklyn Nets, you already let James Harden walk. Not walk, but let him go or whatever. And it's just kind of like, I guess the jury's still out on that. But if Kevin,
but if Kyrie, I'm about to say that ain't looking as bad as we might have thought it was.
Yeah, but if it depends on what Ben Simmons do as well. It also depends if James Harden comes back healthy. So, because he was hurt. But then if you let Kyrie Irving walk for free, you have to start. That's when you start questioning, like, what is this front office really doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really doing? And then don't let Ben Simmons not, like, necessarily, be anything or improve or whatever the case may be. How do you feel about Ben Simmons? You know how I feel. I love Ben Simmons as a basketball player, especially defensively. But, like, don't let that trade be a flop as well for the Brooklyn Nets. It's just kind of like, then you paid Joe Harris. Like, we saw him. Joe Harris was out the regular season, most of the regular season, but we saw him in the playoffs when it matters the most. Like, you start looking at things, that's when you start looking at, like, yo, all right, like, questionable moves, So, but I think it'll take a little bit more time with the Brooklyn Nets because, like I said, they do have Kevin Durant. But if you can't, in 2 years, if they don't reach at least the finals, I think that's when you have to start looking like, yo, like, this was a failed experiment. Especially if you're looking at certain moves, like you got James Harden, you got rid of James Harden, Ben Simmons didn't work, you got rid of Kyrie. If you start looking around, you start seeing that, it's just like you have to start questioning, like, yo, is this front office, is this team competent? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm getting at it. Like the New York Knicks drafted certain players. You know what I'm saying? Not going for certain players, not trying to bet big and, like, say, okay, I'm gonna give a 7 overall pick, I'm gonna give another first round pick. I need to get Lonzo Ball. Like, going big on players, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's that's what I mean. It's a lot of things.
It's
Frank
so crazy.
Nikita, all that. Like,
yeah, I forgot about Frank.
Yeah, like,
jeez.
It's
funny. I feel like if there's any team that should be able to, like, gamble with their draft picks or just overall, it should be the Knicks. Like, just considering where they are, and you would think to yourself,
thank you.
All right, if we swing and miss on a lottery pick, or if we don't, get a trade, or a guy that we get, they don't pan out, you would hope that a team like this in this type of market, and on top of that, this type of fan base in this city,
right, yes,
could at least strike gold in free agency
or try.
But I mean, you in the world's most famous arena, arguably the league's most famous team, and you got a problem with people wanting to come to the world's biggest city.
Yeah, that ain't the NBA's famous. That's the Lake Show for sure. Like, you're not gonna disrespect Lakers, but I said
arguably, but
one.
I mean, hey, I don't know it. I mean, as a Laker fan, of course I'm gonna say Laker, but it ain't.
And then it's hard. It's hard. Yeah,
Knicks fans are crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's hard.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I will say that Laker fans, we done witnessed some tough times and we still here, but Knicks fans, they're a little bit more used to it. But I think, it's also like, they're here. They are a very energetic and wildly faithful, fan club.
Faithful losers.
I wasn't gonna go that far, but I mean, if you want to get active, I mean, I think
faithful losers. Like, if you're not even making it to the postseason, like, consistently, and you still like have these crazy as expectations or like, oh, it's gonna be our year, it's gonna be our year. Like you're not even making a postseason. Like you're not even having a chance to like really showcase nothing. And I don't know. It's the Knicks are just they're complicated, bro. But like it's complicated. It's really complicated with the Knicks, and it shouldn't be complicated with the Knicks. But like you said, it's not Utah, not OKC. Like you can't get a free agent. Like
Not one.
I mean,
Like,
I mean, they got Carmelo through the sign and trade and stuff.
yeah,
like
but that's
that.
because Melo that's
wanted
different.
to
But yeah,
wanted to go there.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like
wanted to go there.
that's not the same thing. You just got lucky. That wasn't
Yeah.
like good recruiting or good scouting. He wanted to go there, so that was they had to mess that up, if that makes sense, right? That was there for them to just okay, Melo wants to go here, cool, let's make the trade. That wasn't like somebody got in a bag.
No, that's
convinced
true.
The hell out of them. So even that.
That's true. Even they and then well, you know what I hate about the Knicks is that they get caught up in like little moments. You know what I'm saying? Like Julius Randle's a top 25 player after one great season in the contract year. You know what I'm saying? Like
man is never gonna let that go.
Frank Nikita, like I like RJ Barrett a lot. Like he has a lot of promise potential, but like saying that like he's gonna be a superstar is like, I don't really see that. I hope that's the case, but it's just like I really don't see it. Or like Obi Toppin, good player, but it's just like that's who you got from the 7th pick. You could have just packaged that 7th pick and then packaged the future first round. Like it was guys up there like you could have tried to go after, especially when like LaMelo Ball would have been perfect in New York. His dad wanted him to be in New York. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. You got to just go and try. You know what I'm saying? You just got to try. Swing for the fences. Like especially if like you said, no free agents coming there. Because like if you look at it, is RJ Barrett like out of the young crop? Like does he scream superstar or franchise player really, or does he scream like nice core player to like build a playoff team and then possibly or have like a third option on a championship caliber team? Like, we talking about guys that scream franchise player. Julian Randle don't scream that. RJ Barrett don't scream that. Frank Nikita didn't scream that. Kristaps Porzingis really ain't scream that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
now, yeah. Knicks KP, franchise obviously is a heavy word, but at the time,
he was hooping and they was losing.
He
was hooping and they was losing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was hooping and they was losing. Let's be real. Like, he was hooping and they was losing. Like,
but he was young, so I thought
there might have been
promise on the way.
Yeah, I know.
What I'm saying?
They like to say that. But they like to say that. I promise stuff like that.
But no, but I'm gonna give them their flowers in that sense though, because all right, that's one case that I do agree with / makes sense. Yeah. I'm gonna give you that one.
Yeah, they got
that
it
one
right
makes
that
sense. The other ones, all right, but new.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell was on the board. Like,
it's work.
It's nasty. Like, and then my thing about it is just like you go out and draft and like, I don't know. It's like I like Obi. I think he's a nice talent.
That's so disrespectful.
Like, but you go out drafting a power forward in this era. That's who you drafted. Like, I'd rather swing for the fences and get it wrong than go out and just draft a power forward.
I mean, you never know. You never know, man. But that's just so wild. Man said
that's crazy.
He's nice. I mean, that's tough. Hey,
no, the next draft. I need to listen to the next draft picks.
I don't think you do. It might be an even crazier list. Is a list of guys that they didn't draft. Yeah, that gets nasty. Hell, all of New York, right? Like, New York not getting Donovan. Well, I think Brooklyn not getting Dame, if I'm not mistaken. Like, the game is the game, but
this is Obi 2020. RJ Barrett 2019 3rd overall pick. They missed out on the Zion Williamson Sweet States. Who won number 2 in that draft?
Ja. But that wasn't like their fault.
Ja.
I mean, if
no. Of course, Ja. They still got RJ Barrett, but who else was in that draft? The 2019 draft.
We got Ja, you got RJ, you got Zion. Your man's Cam Reddish.
Yeah,
was in that draft. Well, all right. So put it like this: you're asking like who went 4?
No, I'm trying to think of like what other star players that like is in that draft, or it may just be Zion. Oh, you got Tyler Hero was in that draft, I think, right?
Oh yeah, I mean some people make the case that RJ has a higher ceiling possibly than Tyler. So
I think they both equal. I think people get all right. We got DeAndre Hunter, Darius Garland. Woo, that's what I'm talking about. Kobe White, Cam Reddish. Okay, so this draft with Tyler Hero, they didn't really miss out. Like they missed out on Zion Williamson, John Moran, and Darius Garland. I think.
But it's funny knowing the Knicks, man. If they would have number 2 pick, who knows? They might have messed around and got RJ there too.
All right, okay. 2018, Kevin Knox. 2017, Frank Nikita. 2015, they got Kristaps Porzingis. 2013, they drafted Tim Hardaway Jr., solid player. 2011, Iman Shumpert. That's what I said. They've been in the lottery for years, years, and not getting nobody.
Yeah, I mean it's tough though, cause I mean we talk shit about the Knicks because it's easy, but I think there's a lot of teams that deal with that same thing, But because they're in the biggest city and shit, they get a lot of slack. But you said it's no excuse, energy, cause y'all have the benefit of being in the big market, so get it done.
Yes,
get it done. These other small market teams, all right, cool. Nobody really want to no shade, really kind of Sacramento like that. But I think when you think about if you already got a big market with a strong fan base, get the shit done. Get it done. Because ain't no player waking up saying, like, I don't want to ball at MSG. They're saying, I don't want to play for the Knicks. And that's a completely different situation. Ain't nobody saying, I don't want to play in New York City where I can capitalize off my brand. Ain't nobody saying that. They say, I don't want to play for the Knicks. It's not, that's unbelievable. But, the game is a game. But yeah, y'all. Housekeeping what the hell I just say? Housekeeping items.
Talk about the Knicks, forget how to speak.
Housekeeping items before we slide, all right? Subscribe to No Pump Fakes everywhere you get your podcast. Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify, all right? 5-star rating. Y'all know what to do. All right? Same thing on YouTube. Subscribe to No Pump Fakes on YouTube, all right? And just like that, y'all, we gone. Peace.
It's your boy, AK Smith, also known as AK. Make sure you guys go follow No Pump Fakes wherever you get your podcasts.